The dictionary defines music as an art of sound and time that expresses ideas and emotions through significant forms using the elements of rhythm, melody, harmony, and color. This is music. This is not. This is music.
Sometimes when I'm out of reach, and sometimes when I'm there, that is when our souls agree and join in.
This is not. This is music.
One night I found what was missing, the thread that attaches us all together with.
This is not. Fuck the notion of subjective taste or it's just your opinion. I can say with confidence that the style known as brutal death grindcore, whatever the fuck, is not music by definition, but a vociferous, ostentatious, overglorified noisemaker by demonstrable fact. And those who are willing to defend this trite, incomprehensible medium have probably taken one too many hardcore dancing flailings to the face, rendering their thought processes one step away from being completely catatonic. And to prove my case, I'm going to compare brutal death grindcore to its progenitor that has a full set of perfectly functioning chromosomes. Metal. The very first thing that the definition of music expresses is that it's art. Well, smash my shins open with a metal baseball bat if I'm wrong, but if brutal death grindcore is art, then Chris Chan is Michelangelo. This is the antithesis of art, because art, even in its abstract form, requires structure, effort, inspiration, and interpretive capability. The most amount of time and effort that these bands seem to put into themselves is by making their logo as pointy, convoluted, and downright in-fucking-comprehensible as possible. Hey guys, the merit of your work is not measured by how brutal your logo looks. Nobody with even a halfway decent taste in music is going to care what your band or your logo looks like, but how your fucking music sounds like! Melody and rhythm? What fucking melody and rhythm? All of these bands sound almost exactly alike. They all feature the same style of drums, which mainly consist of blast beats being played at an inhuman pace, and they try to mix it up by putting some random fills all throughout the song, and sometimes they don't even match the pace of the fucking song. The guitar arranged from the same 1 to 2 chord notes throughout the entire song with an incredibly low distortion, because variety isn't just brutal and hardcore enough. And of course, you can't be a brutal death grindcore band without utilizing the genre's signature staple, the pig growl. The musical zenith of not being able to discern what the singer is saying if it's even cohesive English at all. Now admittedly, in a lot of metal bands, melodic death metal in particular, one can have a hard time figuring out what the lyrics actually are due to growling and shrieking vocalists. But the vocals are nowhere near the lyrical clusterfuck as brutal death grindcore. Usually, whenever you're listening to metal and you read the lyrics along with it, they'll come in clear as a bell. Here's an example. Listen to this. A little confused trying to listen to the words? That's understandable. Now listen to the same song with the lyrics to go along with it. See how much clearer the lyrics sound? Now here's a brutal death grindcore song. Now listen to the same song with the lyrics to go along with it. Still trying to figure out what in the holy mother of fuck is going on? You're not the only one. Growling and screaming like a pig being gutted alive is about as artistic and harmonious as, well, a pig being gutted alive. Now let's take a look-see at some of these insightful lyrics that were masterfully composed by scribes of the highest artistic ingenuity. This little piece is called Razorized Ball Gag. Strap it on tight, putrid cunt. Feel it cut deep into your cheeks, blood leaks down your pretty face. Come and fuck me, please don't cry. Just place your ass in the air, so I can pound your waist hole into oblivion, tearing your inner wall with my dick, forcing pain through your body. Bitch, stop crying, I'll gag you with razor wire. Simply moving. This snippet is from a piece called I'm Glad You Got Breast Cancer, cunt. I always hoped you'd get AIDS, but breast cancer will do. Now you've got just one tit, but you used to have two. And I think we have time for one more sample of marvelous work by the unadulterated masterpiece, Addicted to Vaginal Skin. I don't know. I just took that knife and I cut her from her neck, down to anus, and I cut out the vagina, and I ate it. You see where I'm going with this, ladies and gentlemen? No matter how pretentious your view of art may be, these quote-unquote composers of brutal death grindcore have absolutely no artistic prowess whatsoever. They only seem to care about how brutal they can make their songs in context by making the titles of their songs and lyrics sound as disgusting as humanly fucking possible, and they see no reason to try anything different. Now, deathcore in itself doesn't have the same sort of lyrical themes, if you can even call them that, as brutal death metal or grindcore, but they don't fare much better because they still have the same pointlessly superfluous look, play the same banosic, unstructured music, and write the same cliched, uninspired lyrics as almost every other band in that particular genre. It's a classic case of style over substance. Opponents of metal may make the same statements against it as I'm making against brutal death grindcore now, but in metal's case it actually couldn't be further from the truth. Depending on the musical styling in each subgenre, the lyrics found in metal are mostly very well structured and very grounded and very well implemented. If you actually took the time to listen and absorb the lyrics, the music, and just the overall atmosphere, it'll evoke emotions that transcend the metal genre. They'll make you think. They'll send you into a state of multitonal euphoria that you wish the wonderful experience would just never end. That, my friends, is art. And if you don't believe me, go listen to Iridium by Dark Tranquillity. That's all I need to prove that death metal can be an art form, and none of you can convince me otherwise. But as bad as the glorified noise-making that tries to pass itself off as music but completely and utterly fails in doing so is, the culture surrounding it is infinitely more worse. Metal has always had an adamant, some would say stubborn fan base. But to call brutal death grindcore fans stubborn is a bigger understatement than saying that Glenn Beck is only a little goofy. Even if you so much as suggest a differing opinion regarding their taste, you will summon a reaction of such extreme vitriolic stupidity that's usually accompanied by the complete butchering of the English language that it's even created a growing trend of exploitation on the internet for the sake of entertainment, something that I am without a doubt guilty of taking advantage of because it is amazing on its own right to observe these morons sink so low to try to defend something so head-smashingly stupid and dull that you just can't help but share it with other people. Everyone is probably already aware of their usual repertoire of predictable and unaffecting insults, like, "You have no taste in music if you don't like this insert band here," or "You must like Justin Bieber or One Direction or some other gay-ass pop group," and insert band name here is so much better than this gay-ass shit. And of course, the usual, "You're just a faggot." Their praises are just as imbecilic, and like the bands themselves, they usually only concentrate on a few inane aspects, like how brutal or hardcore it was, or how all the other genres of music are somehow inferior. but all of them go apeshit over the breakdown, which is probably the only aspect of brutal death grindcore which they seem to care about. All a brutal death grindcore breakdown is the band playing a tad bit slower, but the band and the audience build it up to such insane tension where it finally snaps and everyone just erupts into mosh pits and start beating the shit out of each other. Now granted, metal has mosh pits too, and I never really understood why mosh pits are really necessary in any culture. Now that I think of it, this particular aspect of behavior is strangely similar to another, less aggressive genre of music. But I don't know what it is. Now, metal does have breakdowns as well, but again, they're usually more structured or they're not reliant on it, but it can still become a unique and integral part of the song. One more thing I'd like to address is the inane method of adding core to whatever genre it can attach itself to. Metalcore, deathcore, grindcore, gothcore, countrycore, technocore, scenecore, crunkcore, newcore, christcore, softcore. It's only a matter of time before these idiots start using the words hardcore core. And the question I had to ask is why? Why? The only purpose it serves is that it makes the people who like that genre seem more snobbish and stupid, which it accomplishes with flying colors, and it makes the people who don't like that genre ridicule it even more than they already are. I believe I've said enough to make my case, and I really hope that you think about this and consider what your definition of music is. Now I'm aware that some people in my audience do listen to brutal death grindcore, and am I asking you to stop? Am I asking you to abandon a genre of music that you like? No. Go crazy with that shit for all I care. Now I'm aware that some people are gonna call me a faggot and state that I'm not a true metalhead for not liking these genres. Well, they'd be right on the latter part. I've stated before that I like metal, and I do. It's my favorite genre. But I'd be lying to myself and to you if I said I was a metalhead. The truth is, I just love good music, and I think it's absurd to align yourself with just one genre. Because if I did, I'd be missing out on some wonderful works from electronic music, orchestral music, progressive rock, and jazz. If anything, I'm a music head, and I don't classify brutal death grindcore as music. I'm PMRants, and my favorite song of all time is Holographic Universe by Scar Symmetry. Thank you for watching. Fuck the notion of subjective taste or it's just your opinion. I can say with confidence that the style known as brutal death grindcore, whatever the fuck, is not music by definition, but a vociferous, ostentatious, overglorified noisemaker by This is music.
One night I found what was missing, the thread that attaches us all together with.
This is not. The dictionary defines music as an art of sound and time that expresses ideas and emotions through significant forms using the elements of rhythm, melody, harmony, and color. This is music. This is not. Demonstrable fact. And those who are willing to defend this trite, incomprehensible medium have probably taken one too many hardcore dancing flailings to the face, rendering their thought processes one step away from being completely catatonic. And to prove my case, I'm going to compare brutal death grindcore to its progenitor that has a full set of perfectly functioning chromosomes. This is music.
Sometimes when I'm out of reach, and sometimes when